Winning to me is life, and life is light. And he is the light of the world, which is the light of men, made in the image of God as one, John 17. That is the thing. And there's another life out there. There's myriads and myriads of stars and galaxies and there is Star Wars adventures out there for those who need to go through that. There's anything you can imagine out there, but so long as we're here, we're not getting to it. And then Obama comes along and cancels space flights. I don't know how far Richard Branson's going to get, but we have a spaceport here in New Mexico that's Branson's, and he's going to offer low-cost flights I hope it's at $200,000 now, but I think he's going to try to get it down to something that if you want to afford a $50,000 flight, you could, but maybe one day it would be, if this was a normal world, we'd already be to the stars. Why do we want to go to the stars? Why do we want to live eternally? Why do we not want to just live for a flicker of an instant and die being harvested by lizards and by parasites? Well, you do the math. What do you think? It behooves us. The Buddhists had it more close, in terms of kind of a worldview than the Westerners, okay, than the Western monotheistic societies, like which was like in Sumerian culture and Zoroastrians, and there's monotheism of the West had a duality to it. Monotheism of the East had a monism. There's dualism, which is the consciousness of the West, and monism, which is like a transcendent idea that, the dark and the light are transcended into the absolute, which is the goal, right? Which is beyond this reality. And there's been all kinds of people who've done all kinds of things, and there are quite a lot of serious people, but the Buddhist idea is that all life is suffering. I was just telling the Lord this today. I said, Lord, all life is suffering, Lord. All life is suffering, Father. And then people suffering, they're born, and they're lucky if they don't get either malnourished or picked off by some religious fanatic, some Islamic fanatic, because those are the only ones that are religious fanatics that are violent. And it's a wonder they didn't get picked off, And if they do manage to get past 15 years old, then all they have to look forward to is poverty and suffering. In third world countries, and then the idea is the oligarchs want to bring all the people down to that level, put them in cages, and feed them Soylent Green. I mean, it's suffering. It's horrible. And then what they do is distract everybody, so that everybody thinks that basically it's acceptable to suffer because we have football, or we have this or that, or we have Miley Cyrus. I mean, heck, isn't that wonderful? Making her a rich millionaire and fomenting her incredible idiocy, and I don't even know why someone like that would even want to live. There is no purpose, except to turn in she should stick her head up her asshole, and be her own self-contained orgasmic unit. I'm sure that would, I have no idea why certain people even, and then even more so, people that would follow. I mean, back when I was young, there was that whole disco thing going on, and with these, they would pop up, you had the Michael Jackson, you had Madonna, you had all that. And I was like, those people, get out of my face. I don't want anything to do with them. I'm the material girl, go F yourself. Are you kidding me? There's no way that I'm going to be getting into that kind of music. I wanted music. I didn't want some kind of gimmick mind control thing, so I would just be in love with myself or whatever it was, or have maximum sex. Let's just go through the agenda. Maximum sex, maximum drugs, maximum pleasure, vote for Obama, be omnisexual, bi, gay, blah, 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 anything but straight. And what's the rest of it? Okay, to me, that's conformity. See what I'm saying? To me, that's conformity. That's bowing down to the three-piece suit in the boardroom. Sorry, three-piece suits. Some of these three-piece suit guys are nice guys and good guys. It's not all one thing. But, in general, the majority is not good. So that's what I'm talking about. You people that are the exception out there, the good politicians, the good businessmen, the good musicians, the good guys, the good filmmakers, I know who you are. I don't mean you. You're again, if there's that distribution of maybe 66-33, right? And maybe we have that kind of thing going on in all these arts. Sure. But I'm talking to the majority. You're the minority, okay? And then the hidden meaning of the next batch after Miley Cyrus, and she's young, but I mean the next wave is suicide, is to foment teen suicide. That's what these rock stars will be using. To the extent that they can evangelize how great it is to kill yourself, they will be given even more boffo millions. So they can go around with, I think people like Miley Cyrus and Gaga and all that, Kesha and whatnot, they should just have like a dome of mirrors around their heads, like a mirror hat. So all they could see from any angle is themselves. I think that's exactly the way they should lead their lives. Total self, all the time. Make robots of themselves that they can have sex with. So because they really want it. I mean, it's all about you, baby. And to the extent you can get little girls to kill themselves, hey, all the better. How wonderful for you. Hey, I know one thing. You're so stupid, you will never even own up to it. You would have to be told by something or some power or some miracle that you're responsible for these deaths. And that was the whole thing about Satanism that I objected to. I didn't want to murder people, so I didn't get into it. Because I knew that was part of it. Doesn't that make sense? I was actually raised to think that murder was wrong. And so is my objection. It's not the sex part of it or the drugs part of it or even the ritual part of it. That didn't faze me when I was young. The murder of innocents, yeah. The harming of innocents, the being mean to innocent people, driving them to suicide, playing games where there's always a targeted individual that winds up dead. Instead I became the target. I said, take a shot at me then. You think you're so smart? You think you own everything? You don't even know what's beyond the moon. You don't even know what's out there. You've been put in a prison, tethered, and you're there to, the entertainers, you're just the most moronic people. You're just there to keep people tethered here. That's your job, entertainers. That's your job, Las Vegas. That's your job, Paul McCartney. That's your job, Rolling Stone. That's your job, music industry, movie industry. That's your job. Keep Washington, D.C. politicians, keep our noses in the dirt as earth dwellers so that we never become, and then offer them a way to blossom to be something in this world. You come into their talents in this one. And then when a soul blossoms, by the way, they're given via satanic ritual, Ezekiel 13, they're given talents that are stolen from other people. So suddenly they can sing. Suddenly they can dance. Suddenly they can act, whatever. It's all, artificially given, and it can be taken away. A great case in point would be Lou Gramm, a great singer of Foreigner, who sung like an amazing singer early on. And then Foreigner, he got fired from Foreigner because he couldn't sing the way he did, and now he doesn't sing very well. He sings like my feeling about him is he had that period of time where he had that juju going, that mojo, and then lost it and got replaced by someone that can sing like him, and then he's out there on YouTubes and everything with his own band, and he just can't really. It doesn't even sound like the same person. That's what's so bizarre. It's like, oh, they turned the switch off. Now you're just like one of us. In other words, you're not blinding people with this talent. And they can. The talents are another aspect of it all. So you sell your soul so that you can get those talents that you didn't have. So it's not like your talents blossom. It's blossoming means It's false, in other words. It's a false blossoming. The true blossoming is eternal life, being a light being, expanding to the stars, to the universes. There's far more adventure out there and stuff to do out there than there is here on Earth. There's far more euphoric possibilities out there. There's far more stimulating things out there than there are here. There's far more joy and happiness out there than there is here. That's my point. Oh, come on. We just want to have some fun and go to the club and listen to these people and dance and have sex and take ecstasy and drink and, just bond and really kind of just have a great time. And, we just want to have a little fun. I mean, what are you trying to take it away? No, I'm not talking to you. I want you to have fun. God protects you to have fun. He wants you to take ecstasy. He wants you to do all that stuff because you belong to all that. And so, you're being protected, in other words. We need you to take those drugs. We need you to do all that stuff. We need you to be, pedophiles. We need you to do all these things because it's necessary somehow for this all to work out. You are being protected, just like Obama's protected to do the things he does. So, well, is there no impeachment? He seems like it's supernatural. Yeah, he does have protection to it, but then there's also a limit. He's kind of in a box. Look, if I were you, I'd feel sorry for him. This is it. His golf game, that's his universe. That's very sad. The military, that's another thing. I guess the military has dealt itself a self-inflicted wound because they won't stand up to, they'll just agree to be destroyed. And that's just really un-American. Americans are supposed to fight for freedom and for life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and also to serve the people that they're paid by to serve. They're not supposed to just narcissistically implode. I mean, what a sad Veterans Day it is today. What a sad, awful day that we have to put up with this, that we have to go through. Can you imagine having Obama, who hates the military, giving some address today, all lies, and then have the military be forced to applaud? This dog and pony show they're going to roll out today, it's just terrible. I can't watch it because I know that from his actions and through logic, based on the firing of these generals for ideological purposes or whatever else, and the fact that that then he lied and he doesn't ever say the truth, that he's a shameful person and he should be ashamed of himself and should not be in the public eye. He needs to repent and I don't know, but to have him out there talking about his military, the one he's fashioning, he is the whole tradition of military, of the Marines. They had their birthday, and my uncle was a Marine, like I said, and a great one. But he died at 21. He was a great kid, but he died heroically. Look, the whole point is that the tradition of the military has always there's always been sort of an honorable tradition there, despite all the bad stuff. There's been honor and a kind of a code of behavior and a code that's now been thrown out. I don't know. It's hard to watch to have some wimpy guy dismantle you, a big, strong military, Marines, Air Force, through the Pentagon, and I can't imagine. It's like a little boy telling, grown men, fall on your swords because I want to have some fun today. It's insane. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, that's the power of Satan. That's all satanic power at work. And it's like, well, let's just go to God then. The Lord has told these people not one more step, and any step toward any kind of nuclear war will be met with the elimination of them, their jobs. And the other thing is, the Lord has revealed to me that they're all marked, all of them, for failure. No matter what they do, it's going to be one epic fail after another. This is nothing. It will accelerate. It'll be worse than Jimmy Carter ever was, But and that goes for the Pentagon, for the Washington, for the Congress. It's all going to be just failure into chaos is all it's going to be. Nobody is going to listen to the president anymore about wanting to raise taxes or anything he wants to do. His only hope is to write dictatorial orders, which aren't going to go that far anyway. He can't just take over on his own. It would be amazing if he could, this kind of unqualified, inept guy able to seize power and have all these big, strong men have their balls cut off. I just can't imagine it. But then again, I'm always amazed how low the United States is willing to stoop for the devil, which is what it is. In other words, the only way this happens is if there is a supernatural force. That would mean the Pentagon, the White House, and the Congress would all have to be belonging to Satan in order for this to exist the way it does right now. What does that make you? That makes you land of the Satanist, home of the destroyer of innocence, home of the weak and slaves. Has it always been with the devil? No, there's been always a mixture, but now it's tilted too far to the satanic side versus the righteous side, versus God's side. And the Lord will correct that, and it already is. So the good news is that he already is. I don't know about Washington, whether it's in our lifetime or in the very, very far distant future where Washington, D.C. is there, or there's some cataclysm of an earthquake or a tsunami or something that takes out the East Coast. I don't know. But, I mean, I wouldn't give it too much credence as something right now, but I would watch very carefully the way Washington works and to see it's not all one. And to the Alex Jones listeners, I'll just say this. Just because it's in their plans doesn't mean they're going to get it. So let's start looking more at the results rather than what they've written up in their white papers and their plans. I know that's a good, or the news articles. Forget about it. From here on out, I want you to just look at it this way, if you will. So I'm just suggesting it. I'm not ordering you. Do what you will. But I'm just suggesting that you look at it from the lens of God. Like, God can do what he wants, and he's not going to let them do their plans, and he never has. So watch the dynamite. Watch how people make predictions and they don't come true every day. Whether it's Fukushima, EMP pulse, destruction of the power grid, global thermonuclear war, Star Wars, aliens from out there, whatever. Watch the way the Lord works. Don't fall so much for these predictions. The Lord's not telling me to be anxious right now, and when there's something to be anxious about, he alerts me. So I'm here. I can never take it easy. I always have to keep vigilant and keep my eye on the perimeter, because that damn devil and his minions, through his minions, are, wandering the earth trying to destroy anything that is of the light. And someone said, well, you're a big light. And that's why they freak out. And I was like, well, but what do you mean a big light? What, they literally see a big light? If they see you, they see one of my friends, they see me, they see a big light? Yeah, and that bugs them, and they want to extract that light and have control of it, and make you like everyone else. The best you could hope for would be that low spark, that low current, that darkness in which there's the few, the wealthy ones. Hey, remember that Manfred Mann song? There's another one. It's the time of the season. And it goes, "Who's your daddy? Is he rich like me? Has he taken the time to show you what you need to live?" Bingo. So you got all that light, that we want it. Give it to us, and you can be free to walk around the cabin. No, I want off the airplane. I want off the boat. I want to go back to where you know what I want? I want to merge with who I already am. I am back because, and I don't like to see suffering. I don't like to see the 100,000 or so of these people in the Philippines that have gone through this typhoon and have these politicians milk it for some global warming scam while maximizing their pain. It's a terrible thing that happened. I don't look at it like, well, there's bad people there. God did it. I look at it that there are from time to time, killer storms and things that had. We've had very few tornadoes this year. We've had many more in years past. Some years it's a lot more. You take a chance on this world, but our prayers and our heart goes out to those people. That's got to be really tough. The news media wasted no time in presenting the meme that these were walking around like, quote, zombies. They're pushing the zombie meme more and more and more. Anyway, I want to get out of the carnal. I don't want to be dealing with, I don't care if they push that meme. I don't want to complain about them. I have complained just from the standpoint of a human being outraged at the corruption that I see right in my face on television, lying, bold-faced lies, and now that's acceptable. I'm disgusted, but I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on what the Lord's doing. The Lord's got Obama and people on check. Checkmate. Game over. So I don't need to worry about it. He's taking care of it. All right, next. Islamics killing Christians in the Middle East, sanctioned by our tax dollars. This is intolerant. Yeah, I know, okay. But complaining about it's not going to do much good. That will shift, but the Lord has always had his martyrs. And, to serve the Lord is to accept suffering, and no one is above their master. Because did you see the way Jesus was treated? We're treated too if you belong to him, and we get treated. Well, I would say that in my life there's been times it's been horrible, and lately it hasn't been terrible, except for having the awareness. I mean, as you get older, maybe it gets less. I don't know, but having the awareness that that persecution's going on, that the earth dwellers, which is what Islam is, it's a religion of earth dweller barbarians or whatever. They do seek to kill anyone that doesn't conform to their thing. And anyone of Jesus, they want to kill him. And my feeling is that it's a horrible reality to think about, but that's been my whole life with what we've known about that Christian persecution. I used to think it was horrible that these Christians were fed to the lions. Just horrible. Why would they be? These are the children of light, the children of promise, the ones that are the hope of the world, the light of the world. Jesus manifests through them. You wouldn't, these are people who love darkness and who do not want, again, it's like when people know something about the aliens or the space and they get killed by nefarious, deep, dark, black ops agents. Right? They know about underground bases, so they get offed. They don't want you to know there's another way, another life, that your life's been stolen. They don't want you to know that you belong elsewhere. That's why I don't want to get so caught up in the affairs of the United States, and I have been, and I'm sorry, too much so, or France, or England, or Africa, or Asia. I don't want to get all caught up in it. Haven't we said enough? Haven't we done enough? The ones who are aware now, who have consciously woken up about this whole thing, they are awake, and the others are going to remain asleep, and that's perfectly fine. Obama's going to do what he does, and he's supposed to do that. He is doing what he's supposed to do, and I respect him on that level, that he is doing what he's supposed to do. What his function is, he's doing it. As far as a man, being in my carnal self and saying what is a man, I'd say, he's probably doing a good job as a man in the sense that he's sticking to his principles. And he's sticking it back in the face of people that confront him. So I guess he's being a man in that regard. When I say panty waist, I'm talking about this kind of mealy mouth, back and forth sort of, I guess you could just say he's a mixed bag. Maybe we all are to a certain extent, and he's just there to reveal our own hypocrisy. But the point is that I can't get caught up in that. Is he a punishment to the United States or the people here that went decadent or whatever? Sure, but they keep rolling out this popular culture. I don't know. I guess I could take issue with the record producers in L.A. and New York who keep pushing this. I don't even know what it is. This sort of burlesque. And maybe the kids are supposed to go through, like we went through, that period of, me, 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 me. The whole thing of rock and roll was me, 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 me. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll equals narcissism. And, me, how I feel, my concert I go to, the records I buy, what I listen to, my swag, my this, my that, my what, my hairdo, my cool Chuck Taylors, if you're really cool, you wear Jack Purcells. Sorry. You guys missed the boat. When I was a kid, I've got 3 pair of Converse things. I've got 1 pair of Jack Purcells that are just awesome. And then I have a laceless Converse All-Star. It's not a Jack Taylor. It's designed by someone. The laceless, it's a slip-on, but you don't use laces. It looks weird, but it's very comfortable. And then I have a traditional pair of Chuck Taylors that, every creative person that I've ever known was, the rock and roll kind of, uniform is Chuck Taylors. I always played drums in Chuck Taylors because they were perfect. I get them really broken in and they were just like being barefoot. So, it's just part of the uniform. Now I try to wear like flip-flops wherever I go or go barefoot because I just don't want to conform to the to the music industry because I'm basically at you could say I'm at odds. I'm one of the few people that's actually writing about and I do it as a collage artist. I'm a collage producer. I produce lots of different ambient tracks. This track, dubstep, rock. It's all there's a rhyme and reason for it all. But whatever the mood kind of feels like in terms of being my instrument is the mixing board. And I have all kinds of sound. I love sound, I like doing cinematic tracks and then putting nothing on there. We have a really great video out there that this guy, I don't even know his real name. His name is like Rylock7 or something. But he started doing videos for us and just did one. It was phenomenal. And then we're working on another one of Trisha's song. But the one that we just did is called Untethered in Space, and it deals with that issue of beyond what's beyond out there, and he just did a terrific video. I really liked it, and this will represent the first of Corova Media's videos. We're getting into video. It's slow because it's really what I remember from filmmaking, from my own filmmaking is that it's really hard. You really have to have a special talent. Anyway, this guy that produced the video over my track, he really has a talent there, and so does my assistant have a talent, and so I have a talent, but I don't know if I have the patience. Once I produce the track, it's sort of like I like somebody else to come in and direct the video. Anyway, we have a really good video out. It's called Untethered in Space, and it's on the Zeph Report site. It's on Podbean. And wherever else out there. It's Tumblr and here and there and Yawn and Reverb Nation, and it's everywhere out there. But it's really cool. This would be great in high def, like Sony 4K. These images and these ideas. And it would be a great opener for, say, a sci-fi movie or something. And it's really cool. And I hope to do more. I mean, this might lead me back into filmmaking. I don't know. Where the idea is. But I'm stick with sound. You know what I mean? It's sound is what inspired for the images. It's everything comes from sound, and sound is, and what was before, what's the word of God? It's sound, isn't it? You speed it up, it becomes light. Yes? Slow it down, it becomes sound. Then it becomes light. Sound and light. And what's the true light? In other words, where does that come from? It comes from the Lord Jesus. His name is the true light. That's the original light, the first cause, if you will, the prime mover, the prime thing. And then there's even a before that, which is the solid thing that always was, that is God, and that never was not. And so I got that there's trillions of things going on out there. I used to be programmed very heavily by the evangelical church, which is why I've kind of rebelled so much, in my talks, or exposed so much, because I found the end times programming and the programming for the Bible and everything very, very destructive, extremely destructive, to me personally, because it stopped me from, wondering. And the Lord loves it when we wonder, what's out there, Lord? That's the yearning to be free right there, that urge to wonder and to look and to consider and to not be, to be open to different things and say, Lord, is it, there's dark stuff too that can get you, but the church wanted to present the cosmos like a Ouija board. Like you go out there and mess with that, you'll get demonized, you'll be possessed. We can't have you do it. It's like, in other words, don't look, right? Don't want to be free. Don't worry, you're going to go to heaven and you'll bypass all that. I don't want to bypass it. It's magnificent. I want to know more about it. Yeah, well, Obama is in agreement with the evangelical church and the Catholic Church because he's canceled space, because he doesn't want us seeing all the anomalies going on out there. And they're out there, and they're out there, and they're out there, and they keep trying to cover it up. But you can't. And soon, I predict, all of this is going to come crashing into the earth anyway. I don't know why now, but these comets are harbingers, and one is I-Sun, which always got me to think it's like, Christ. I-Sun. I can't get away from that idea. Sorry. A harbinger of the angelic realm, the host of heaven coming to the earth. And then the other comet that's out there, and I forget what's it, Leroy or something, whatever it is, it's, represents the other side. And there's this conflict. And I don't want to go above my pay grade, but I don't want to stay here with my nose in the dirt like the earth dwellers. These earth dwellers, they bore me. It's all about the earth and this and that and all these stupid things. Now, I don't mind the pleasures of the earth, a good meal, a good hotel, a great seat on the plane, whatever. But I can't, having nice things, I don't know, but I'm always aware that, but those things are passing. But if you fancy something, you have it, but you can't have it like you used to, because God's there. He's in your face. And it's like, you can't make these objects into little gods to boost your status or your mood. It's just they can't do that, but it's nice to have, It's nice to have a Les Paul guitar, sure, with the dual humbuckers and the whole bit, and I'm not the best guitar player, but when I need a really good tone, I've got it. Or a good bass, or a good mixing board, or Pro Tools, or a nice place to do that stuff. I'm very appreciative. No idea, I've like David Byrne. Where did all that come? I have no idea. I know that I've had things before and they've been taken away, so I knew not to buy in, because I know it can always be taken away. So I don't know. But then again, I'm just here like an occupant. Like a renter, a visitor. And that's how I feel about myself. I'm a visitor. I don't come from the earth. I never did. If you like, I'm an alien. I'm an alien from out there, and I did at one point have a ship. I had all that stuff, in another kind of carnal configuration, not carnal, but another dimension, but had all that stuff. I was shown all that years ago by the Lord, shown it. This is we're going back 15 years now, and I was shown all that, what I'd lost and what I hadn't and I don't have now. And then, he was bringing me up to speed on all the things that have happened and how I need to start the process of healing, and that process is complete, Okay, my eyes are opened. I am a whole person. I'm 100% integrated. Most people are fragmented. Most people are multiple personalities. Most people, I kid you not, they have missing time. Most humans who are not accountable who don't belong to God, who are in that 66%, let's say, they have missing time, and they keep it secret. They have times where they don't know what their body is doing or what they're being used to do. And my question would be, why would you want to live like that? You have a choice. You have free will. Let me also state other good news. Anyone that is serving the devil and, the bad aliens and the bad, the lizards underneath the earth and the whole bit. Anyone who's like in that very negative space and in that, and you've seen how your mojo and juju has been dried up, right? And you see how the gifts and the phone just doesn't ring anymore. And you see how they gave you a bunch of stuff in the beginning, but now they don't really. You see how it's all going south on you. You can always repent at any time, because they do trade in these souls and things, but still you can't buy and sell souls ultimately, because God's in command of all souls. They do it and they extract money and they do all kinds of things, but in the end he could just cancel this entire reality in the flip of a switch, and then it never existed in the first place. Now, I happen to believe that he's fashioning and building character in his saints, and building virtues, and building, and he's burning the dross off, burning that sin life off of you, and preparing us to go to the next level. And whether we fell here, whether we were higher, or now we're lower, one thing I know for sure, most of you want to go back to where you were beyond that. You want to move on into space. Let's not be coy about it. We have a yearning to go to the stars, because that's where we came from. Let's not even say heaven. Let's just say the stars, to be more accurate. We remember that. We're like star beings, and we're in this configuration now for whatever reason. Because it's the pleasure of Yahweh, the pleasure of the Creator, the pleasure of the One who manifests all this. Not anything was made, remember, that he didn't make. Dark, light, storms, calm, up, down, back, forth, sunrise, sunset, you name it. Suns, moons, stars, galaxies, anything, limitless firmament, anything. But we want to go back to the stars because that's where we came from. I know those esoteric societies, and if you really want to know the motivation of the guys in the pyramids and the people of the earth dwellers who are trying to go into space and stuff and keep it secret, by the way, they've been going back and forth in space and in time the whole time you've been alive. These humans, yeah, that's right. It's all been kept a big secret. So if you find out about that, then they kill people that know too much about that. Anything to get you to keep, stay on your farm. This is not for you. You're not going to the stars. That's for these elites. You're just farm animals, and you're going to, and once we're done with you, we're just going to burn the farm down, and to hell with you, and we're going to be off of, we're already in the stars, and you're not, and too bad. To me, the greatest motivation for freedom is to move to the stars and to move to our true identities, which are not temporary beings that die, but are permanent, are eternal. To come into ourselves in the stars, in the limitless. To it's the to be free. That's what I need. That's freedom for me. So all the rest of this, and there are war games, and there are all these shenanigans, and wanting to be the best basketball star, the best this, the best that, or the genius computer geek or whatever. It's all irrelevant when it comes to comparing it to that. I see how they use these games and contests and sports and entertainment to keep our eyes on our genitals, our eyes on our stomachs, our eyes on our hammocks, our mansions, our lattes, our programming, so that we won't look up. And up is where we came from. And I could go on and on about why. Like, I'm in this prison camp because I did X. Or I was disobedient. Or something happened. And this is my reward. Or I could look at it another way. That's more of a Buddhist way. Right? All life is suffering. There has to be a way out. Or I could look at it another way. And just say I serve at the pleasure of God, and for whatever reason, he's got this, and he's got myriads and myriads of other possibilities too, and this is just what God's doing. I give myself totally to God. Whatever you will do, Lord, is okay by me. I don't need a reason like I was bad or I was good, or because bad and good are irrelevant when you finally get to the real truth. There is no bad. In other words, there is no bad and good. It's beyond that. There just is. So it doesn't matter. But yes, they, and when you say they, there's billions of possibilities of them, are coming here, whether the government likes it or not. And they're going to be interacting and dealing with people. Just consider the good guys overt angels. But they're brethren in serving the same God, are they not? Considered it an intervention. You're starting to sound like the rapture. No, it's going to be way more disorganized than some, magic rapture. Anyway, it's happening now. Do you realize that, like, if you point your digital lens to the sky right now, under certain conditions, you'll click hundreds of UFOs, because they're invisible to the naked eye, but they're visible sometimes on a camera. Not all the time, but sometimes with a digital lens that picks them up. The most bizarre thing. Anyway, I had this idea that just right above me the other day, there were so many ships in the sky that they would almost blot out the sun if they weren't invisible. Like there was just hundreds of them just hovering over me, and not all of them were human. Not all of them were even occupied by anything. There was no occupant. They were just things that fly around. And this is the most bizarre revelation I've ever had. There are things that fly around, and they're not machines. They're organic in some way, but they're like I said, like schools of fish. And they're all over the place, and they don't want you to see that. So they try to explain it away on the NASA footage and things like that. They're in the NASA footage. There's some on YouTube right now that's actually real. Most of that stuff on YouTube, except for for some of that raw footage from the space station, is fake. Anyone with animation software can have a disc in the sky. I would shy away from the disc. The thing I was seeing with these guys that have these images, when you would see them kind of sideways, it looked like they had a hole in the middle and a little wedge in the side. But they're all over the place, and they don't respond to humans. They don't respond to the space station. They don't respond. They just are kind of doing their own thing. And that, more like if you were underwater watching fish. And that more led to the credibility of, it may be, I doubt it's fake, But that led more to the credibility of the situation when there's no regard for human. A lot of these UFO people, it's like, oh, they're involved with humans. It's very humanocentric, and that's like a key to it being fake. They want to. There's a whole mind control UFO programming too, just like the evangelical church or the Catholic Church or this group or that group or the Hopi thing or the Art Bell thing or the whatever. You could fall into that programming. And well, we don't need to swap one for the other. It took me, a bunch of years to get unstuck from this like Bible thumping thing. And I do read the Bible, but it's there was this ethos, this horrible conformity thing going on. And most of these people that were proponents of this were children of Satan anyway, and they're promoting this Bible thumping. And I'm like, why don't you get... I just, you know what I mean? I had to turn away. I can't look at that. I don't understand. These were the people that told me, don't look skyward. Don't look out there. Don't think about outside the box. All the answers are right here. Keep your nose in those Bible pages. Anything else is demonic. It's a narrow path. All that stuff had an influence on me and stopped any inquiry. But now it's like, I just have to. What I realize is there's no inquiry. I already know everything. I just have to unlock that knowledge. I already know it. It's my cells. It's my DNA. I know. There's a whole history that I already know, but I now need to, I can't take time, I can't spend time, I can't waste time. I need to just go to the truth. That's it. And I don't have time wasting my time with politics or the rest of it. I got to go to the truth. And I hope it doesn't turn out to be like a Ridley Scott movie, Prometheus, where you find out that these aliens are your progenitors and they want to kill you. They don't give a damn about you. They just soon you were dead. And all you're asking for is, can I live a little longer, please? I don't like the idea of living, 80 years and that's nothing. That's like nothing. That's unacceptable. So eat your cud and be a farm animal and all that, and we'll take care of you. And then when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. Here's our death panel. Now we're going to have death panels telling you, oh, you're 70 years old and you need a kidney. I'm sorry. Here's some medication to make you feel good. Go die, please. Thank you. Next, please. Or whatever. And with that, I don't want to, you know what? That's just not my concern. It's terrible. I wouldn't come here. I wouldn't do this. And so I must detach from the politic scene. I must detach from... I've already complained about Obama. I've complained about the military. I've complained about the economy. I've complained about the way people act here. I've complained especially about how stupid people are here in this country. But at some point, I got to stop complaining. That's what conspiracy radio has become. One big laundry list of complaints. There just has to be more. There's got to be more to it than that, or I'm just going to be the saddest boy around. There's more to it than that. Than just not approving of them doing evil in the sight of men. What's new about that? There just has to be, look, this is not my home, really. And I know where my home is, and I've got to get home. There's no place like home. Where are my ruby slippers, darn it? Wouldn't that be nice? If all I had to do is click those 3 times and say, there's no place like home. So instead, I'll say, Lord, please open this up for me so I can understand. And usually I'm ahead of the game in terms of the people out there, and what they talk about, because I don't go by the news. It's a guideline, but the predictive aspects are more. And now it's this space beings, UFOs, and I know it's just a murky, awful, fatty thing out there. But you know what? It's coming whether we like it or not, and it's the next thing. As far as the politicians and the unlucky berries and the Gaia Hillary Gaia Benghazi. I can't want, please, no. The affairs of men upon the earth just consumed with flesh and concerns of flesh. When I'm not really flesh. I'm not really even human. You know? And maybe nobody is. Not really. That's not our true identity, is what I mean. I'm this light being already, and I'm also this conscious being that goes and acts as my own guardian angel, among other things. And whatever, has a life, and he does not age, and he intervenes and does things. He's got a very busy life, and I'm like, but that's me. Hey, wait a second. Now I'm here. I'm also a being of light. What the heck? Why so dense and heavy? But, and I heard a word the other day that somebody posted from a prophetic guy, I don't know who he is, I don't know his name, saying that, the Lord wants to bless us. We just need to turn to him. He's going to bless us if we turn to him. I say amen to that word, and I want to confirm that. I mean, the Lord knows what I mean. So I confirm that. Yes, Lord, I know that when we turn to you, you just give us nothing but good things, and you want to give that to the whole world, and it would solve every crisis. But these like these people on the news, they appoint themselves to be authorities on God and reality, and they control so many people. Again, as Oscar Wilde said, most people are other people. They're just copies and clones of the others. I'm paraphrasing now. But it's like they do not live their own lives. They live the lives of others. And that's so true. That, in other words, most people don't have lives and do not live. They're dead. They're just tape recordings of other people. And, I would tell Oscar Wilde, if he was, alive today, I would say, I guess we would have to go back to the original decision of the free will to determine if becoming one of Satan's is becoming other people. And I say the answer to that is yes, of course. Because the people of God, they are not copies of other people. And never, all the ones that I know literally are unique and are their own voice, and they're not ashamed. I probably had shame the longest time of anybody. I was ashamed. It was a wound. Ashamed. And when you're insecure and ashamed, you tend to take on personalities of other people or bits and pieces of this and that and the other. And the Lord, slowly over time, because it's very painful when you feel insecure around other people, or you feel you have to take on this or become that, or worse, you don't know who you start becoming reflections of the people in the room because you don't really have a strong identity. You know what I mean? Because the shame is making you so ashamed, you dare not shine your light. Boy, that's painful. Those of you who suffer. Oh gosh, my heart goes out to you. I know exactly where you're at. But the Lord has to heal that. You can't live like that. You got to be patient, because sometimes it takes 70 years. I kid you not. There are some people that carried shame and guilt all the way to their graves, friends. This imprint the devil makes on humanity, when you come to this earth, it's hard to shake. And one of the things is, if you don't belong to the devil, then you're going to be fraught with shame, guilt, and you're going to be like the guilt guy, the sin eater, because you're going to be the one that they put all the sin on at the end of the day. You're going to be the one they make the scapegoat, so you feel guilty about everything, afraid to share all the things that they don't want to be. You become to take it off them. It's in some weird confangulation of thing what they're doing, and the minute you're healed from that, they can't put it on you. You see, they can't make you into that. They can't make you ashamed and a laughing stock and whatever else that they would do, because you're your own man now. See, you're your own. You got your stature in Christ. You're a a consummated man, not the world's way, but the Lord's way, which is the original consummation of the wedding feast. You are that being of light, and nobody can take that away from you. Nobody, once you get to that point. You are your own man, you are your own woman, and you stand your ground, and you're sure of where you stand, and you know you're right, and you know they're wrong, and they know they're wrong, and you know what? You stare them down long enough, they will blink, because they deep down know it's a lie. And then they'll run from you, scared to death. But you lived your life running from them for a lot of years, and hid under your beds and things. But that's just the opposite of what should be. I hope this helped to heal. And for my complaints about, I think people are really mad at the president and mad at the Congress. I mean, they're not just any longer disappointed. They're actually just really pissed off about this health care thing. I'm just going to stay away from that. You can watch the news for that. It just seems like another distraction, you know. And whether there's drones in the sky or not, they're going to do what they're going to do. There's nothing I can really do. I'm going to mention it as kind of like an act, to put it out there in the consciousness, so that the complaint is noted. But I go to the Lord. Lord, redress, please. This is terrible, unacceptable. Please protect our brothers and sisters. Please protect our children from these predators. Please. Drones are even called predators. Please. The Lord says, okay. Please protect us from the GMO foods and from the effects of that and the fluoride water and the chemtrails. Please protect us. I will. Thank you, Father. I guess I won't worry about it then. Remember that?